Good evening, everyone. My name is Edgar,
And this is Kardia.
and this is Mystcon. Tonight, we're going to be talking about some facts that you probably didn't know about the movie Halloween, and discussing a bit about them.
In 2006, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant.
Hmm, the United States National Film Registry sure does sound official.
I've
And
never heard of that before.
and it's in 2006, so it took a while for them to get there.
I bet you they didn't like it very much earlier on. 2006, they're like, well, I guess it's been around enough.
Yeah, really, at the time, it was kind of just considered another slasher flick. So Carpenter agreed to direct the film, contingent, though, on having full creative control, and he actually got $10,000 for this project, but he also got 10% of the film profits, which actually included his writing, his directing, and his scoring of the film, which we'll get to his music side a little bit later. He and his at that time his girlfriend Deborah Hill, they started drafting a story originally called "The Babysitter Murders." So their investor subsequently suggested setting the movie on Halloween night and renaming it to Halloween. So that's how it got its name.
Can you imagine if it was called The Babysitter Murders?
Yeah, I mean it would change the history of the
I,
franchise.
I highly doubt a movie called The Babysitter Murders would be selected for preservation in the National Film Registry.
And I guess Carpenter had said, I guess it was in an interview at some point, the basic concept of Halloween Night. Let's see, the exact quote I have here is Halloween Night, it has never been the theme in a film. My idea was to do an old haunted house film. Yeah, so it sounded like he had a pretty simple approach.
But he also was very sure of himself because $10,000 for everything. And then he's like, just give me 10%.
Yeah, really.
Alright, so it took approximately 10 days to write the screenplay.
Which doesn't sound very long at all.
No.
But, it turned out pretty good.
Can you imagine 10 days and then you just sit back and just rake in the money?
Yeah, really. Well, I
crazy.
mean, he obviously had to do more than that after.
But
He had some follow up.
I wonder how long it took to film. Do we have that?
Yes, we'll get to that.
Alright, cool, okay.
We have our little fact sheet here, the guys that we're reading from. So, now here's something that didn't come up in the original movie, but it does come up later in the franchise. There was an ancient pagan connection. So apparently they originally were thinking about the old idea of Samhain, which is an old pagan holiday for on Halloween. And that was the night where all the souls are let out to wreak havoc on the living. Now, the way that it was explained to me is that the veil between the worlds was thinnest. It didn't necessarily mean anyone was going to wreak havoc, but obviously that's very useful in a movie. So they came up with a story about the most evil kid who ever lived, and then John came up with a fable of a town with a dark secret of someone who once lived there, and now that evil has come back. And that's basically what became Halloween. And that was this came from an interview with Deborah Hill, his lady friend at the time.
Mm-hmm. Now, about the veil being thinnest between, and Halloween, I learned that actually. I don't know if I'm ashamed to say it or proud to say it. Depends on if you like the show or not. But I learned it from the show Charmed. From the one episode where they go back in time and they're trying to figure out how to defeat evil Cole that went back in time. If you know the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. And they were talking about the veil being thinnest, but that's how I found out. So it must be a thing that's around. It must be, I don't know if it's an actual thing or
Yeah.
it's made up by the film industry, but
Well, no, it's based on old pagan holidays,
Oh, okay.
which were based on the Wheel of the Year. Halloween was traditionally the time when their summer crowned king has now grown old and he has died and he enters the land of the dead and he sails across the sunless sea until he reaches the end and he's becomes born again, which is Christmas, December, well, the solstice, December 21st.
also known as or Christmas, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Let's see. Oh,
Oh, okay. So Alfred Hitchcock is paid homage in the film with two character names: Tommy Doyle, who is named after Lieutenant Detective Thomas J. Doyle from The Rear Window. It's 1954, I guess, a film that he did. And Dr. Loomis's name is from Sam Loomis, or John Gavin, from, obviously everybody would know the movie Psycho.
that's kind of cool. I like to throw little references in my creations as well.
Didn't Alfred Hitchcock appear in all his films or something like that?
I really don't know.
I want to look into that. I think he appeared in every single one of his films somehow in some kind of cameo.
Interesting. So here it looks like the inspiration for Michael Myers, who, if you guys don't know, is the main crazy guy in the film. The inspiration for this looks like it might have come from an experience in John Carpenter's childhood. So let's see. He visited a ward with his psychology classmates, where the most serious, quote, the most serious mentally ill patients, end quote, were held. So there was a boy there who had this blank stare, and Carpenter's experience with this boy allegedly might have led to the characterization that Loomis would give of Michael Myers when he's explaining him, like to the cop in the film. So it looks like John Carpenter, with a class trip, he encountered a kind of interesting character at this place and based the character on him. The origin.
Hearing this fact actually reminds me of something. So a legend called the Black-Eyed Kids or the Black-Eyed Children. They have this very deliberate stare. We have to do an episode on that.
Right.
If you guys want to see an episode on that, please comment down below and remember to subscribe to the channel and give us a like so we could keep doing this. But back to my point. So these black-eyed kids supposedly wait to get invited into your home, and then they do some kind of evil things to you, but that's what this reminded me of.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I mean, I'm familiar with the idea. I don't know anything about these kids.
I can't even imagine when he walked in there and just was watching those kids. For anybody else, it would be a petrifying experience. For him, it was like stored in his brain as content. Okay, so he originally was going to cast Anne Lockhart as opposed to Jamie Lee Curtis. She's the daughter. Anne Lockhart is the daughter of June Lockhart from the movie Lassie.
Well, the TV show.
The TV show Lassie, yeah. And he was going to cast her as the main, I guess.
Yeah, the main character.
Character, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Not sure how that would have went.
I guess we can't see it now because the film can't be with anybody besides her.
Yeah, really? I can't imagine.
But I guess if she was in it originally, we would have had no issue with it, but I just can't picture that.
John Carpenter seemed to want to do kind of a haunted house experience with his film. Let's see, I have a quote here. He described Halloween as a true crass exploitation. I decided to make a film I would love to have seen as a kid, full of cheap tricks like a haunted house at a fair where you walk down the corridor and things jump out at you. Yeah, so he's talking about jump scares and purposely creeping and freaking people out.
You know what always scared me on those fairs that you went to as a kid. I think, and I don't think I've ever been in one, but I think the idea of it, seeing it in different films, that mirror place where you walk in and you see yourself 700 times, that creeped me out.
Yeah.
But I could see how jump scares is a good thing to go on and would definitely freak out a kid.
Yeah, I haven't seen a mirror place like that since I was a little kid. Seems like there's less creepy sideshow stuff these days.
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of sad. Okay, so Halloween was filmed in 20 days.
There you go.
It was over a 1 month period in May of 1978, and it took until 2006 to get it into the whole of, I don't know, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was done with a Steadicam. It was the new camera at the time, and it allowed filmmakers to just move smoothly. So for a very smooth, movie experience, so it's not, the camera's not shaking.
Yeah, I looked into the Steadicam, and so this was filmed in 1978, and actually I think the Steadicam was in 1973, but it just wasn't as popular, I guess. So because I know it wasn't when I read. The new camera that they used, but it really wasn't that new. And actually, I think it was more of an adapter for a camera that helped it, not shake around. Anyway, I don't remember enough of what I googled.
It was like an attachment to the camera.
Yeah, it would keep it still and make for better filming. Let's see what's next on our sheet here. Yes, the Captain Kirk mask. So the mask that we're sort of working under the assumption that if you're watching this, listening to this, you have seen the film. If you haven't, you should definitely check out the original Halloween. If for some reason you don't know, that he wears a mask, and this mask apparently was modeled from a Captain Kirk mask. So they took a Captain Kirk mask that they found at a costume shop for like $2, and they tweaked it up. Let's see, they made the eyes wider, they spray painted it a bit, and it's really interesting because imagine, obviously it brings up the thought. Imagine if they just kind of left it as the Captain Kirk mask, and every kid was afraid of Captain Kirk. As like coming out of the closet at them.
I wonder if they could have done. I don't think they could have done that, because that would have been really creepy.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know if that would be like public domain or whatever, but like you could buy a mask of a president and go make a movie with that on.
Oh yeah. What's also, like weird about this whole scene is that you now want to go back and watch Halloween just to see if you could recognize the Captain Kirk mask.
Yeah.
That they've adjusted,
Yeah, and we should. I actually have them all. Even the ones that aren't that great.
Well, I guess there's a movie night.
All right, everyone. That is going to be the end of part 1, because we are running out of time for this week. But we will definitely have the part 2 for you ready next week.
Sounds awesome. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about the movie Halloween. A lot of awesome facts. And we will see you guys next week for part 2. Please subscribe and like and comment below. Every one of that helps. And share. Go on Twitter. Share this. If you guys like Halloween, we'd appreciate it.
I agree.
I agree.
All right, on that note, my name is Edgar.
And I'm Kardia.
And this is Mystcon.
Bye.
Have a creepy day.